When people think of Detroit, they think of an old Rust Belt industrial city with bad air and not much concern for environmental issues. For many years, our air quality was extremely poor, and we do face some challenges. That's why 3 years ago, the Port Authority, with a grant from the state of Michigan, took on the challenge of improving air quality and reducing our carbon emissions here in the port and all of the port operations. The Port of Detroit is the reason that Metro Detroit grew to what it is. Without access to the waterways, Detroit could not have become the motor capital of the world. The Port Authority is largely an advocate for the port. We don't have regulatory power over the private terminals, and so we embarked on a decarbonization plan through a voluntary effort with the private terminals.
100 years of history of industrialization has taken its toll on the environment, and the Detroit-Wayne County Port Authority is very proud that we're bringing sustainable efforts not only to the cruise ships, but the freight ships that call on our city too.
Far too often, we fall into this trap of believing that we have to engage in significant trade-offs between economic development and environmental sustainability. In reality, I think they go hand in hand.
Port of Detroit is at a pivotal point as the community begins to reconsider what it means to be industrial and how that looks. One of the first goals is for 2027 to have 50% of our trucking industry being on biodiesel, 100% of our goods and handling equipment, as well as the shipping and the vessels on biodiesel, or another alternative fuel such as hydrogen, which is a big research that we're conducting right now. To be able to reach net zero by 2040 is the ultimate goal.
Only about 25% of our carbon footprint is really from the ships that are bringing in the cargo and unloading it, and only 15% is coming at the terminals. The largest percentage is really the local trucking, hauling that cargo to its destination, and most of our terminal partners don't own or control those trucks to really eliminate our carbon footprint from port operations, because those same trucks that are bringing material from the port are also just doing other kinds of movement within the region, and they may be part of a larger fleet that moves things that never touch the water. Our focus isn't just in the cargo terminals. We operate a cruise ship dock that is part of a growing Great Lakes cruise ship industry. The fuel burned on these ships is also affecting our climate and our air quality. We're working with other terminals in the Great Lakes that receive cruise ships to develop a Great Lakes-wide plan to insist on biodiesel fuel within the cruise ships. We are also working to find resources to develop shore power so that the ships, while they're at the dock, can plug in and turn their engines off. And then ultimately, long term, we want to see these ships switch over to zero-emission fuels. Our local community partners, they've been fighting for clean air for decades. The Port of Detroit, as it rebuilds and reimagines itself as a green port, and we have a long way to go, but we're working with our private partners and government grants and funders to improve the lives of our workers, our visitors, and those who live near the port.
For communities like Delray within Detroit that has nationally high air pollution and nationally high asthma and respiratory issues, this has impacted generationally from grandparents to newborns, dealing with air pollution and dealing with the industrial sites that have contaminated their neighborhoods.
The decarbonization plan with the Port of Detroit has really created an avenue for residents to be heard. They've opened a lot of doors for us, and they've invited us into a lot of conversations with the state of Michigan and other partners. I really believe that this project has created some healing in the community.
The collaboration between business, government, and community organizations is key. They're the key stakeholders in all of this. So each one of those entities is vital to implementing a greener, cleaner environment for this region.
Any ports or any states that are looking at decarbonization efforts. It is about our future. It's about the quality of life that we live.
Not only is it an opportunity to continue to drive the economic growth that is already supported by ports around the world, but it's the right thing to do for your community, for your children, and for the wildlife that depend on the bodies of water that we work on.